Hey everybody, Captain Algebra here, and it is the beginning of the month, which means I'm here with my pickups from December 2017, and it was a very good way to end the year. Didn't buy a ton of stuff, or expensive stuff myself, but I got quite a bit of stuff for Christmas. So let's get into it. So first things first, there's some Xbox 360 games. So my mother and father-in-law like to go to estate sales, and I always tell them, hey, see if they have any video games. They don't usually find any. Just because it tends to be like elderly people that don't have video games and stuff. But they actually found some Xbox 360 games that were $5 a piece, and I told them to pick up a couple for me. So we'll start with, we got Crysis II, limited edition. Army of Two, 40th Day. Crackdown. So Crackdown reminds me of Grand Theft Auto, but you're a genetically enhanced police officer. And you go around trying to take out 21 gang bosses. It doesn't look as good or control as good as Grand Theft Auto, but it's still kind of fun. So if you like the Grand Theft Auto games, this one you might want to check out. And then the one I was most excited for, Halo Anniversary. So they remade Halo from the original Xbox, and Halo was, it revolutionized the first-person shooter genre. And back in high school, my friends, we created the Northwoods Gaming League, and we actually used to get together like once a week or every 2 weeks, something like that, and actually get together and play Halo and system link our Xboxes. And we had a draft on who was red team, who was blue team, and it was a lot of fun. Back then, I was pretty terrible at Halo. I even got traded once. They called me Meat Shield quite a bit. I was pretty bad, but I've gotten much better. But it's such a fun game, and I really love how they updated the graphics. Next, some more Xbox 360 games. So I was going around looking for my my brother's Christmas gift, and he collects a lot of 80s toys. So I was going to like thrift shops, that kind of stuff that I can tend to find those things for. And I always check the Xbox or the video game section. They don't usually have too much, but they actually had some Xbox games, and there are a few there that I was looking for. There's another one, Red Dead Redemption was there that I thought I had, but I don't, so I need to go back and pick it up. But we've got Assassin's Creed. So big fan of the Assassin's Creed series. I've played 2 a lot, and then a little bit of the other ones, but I'd never played the first one, so I was glad to find that. We got the original Mass Effect. So I had the second and the third Mass Effect, and found the third one. And now I've got the first one. We got Duke Nukem Forever. So I've never played a Duke Nukem game, so I always wanted to, and this is probably the worst one to play. This one I remember it took a very long time to release, and then when it was released, not many people were excited for it. Kind of wasn't as good as the other ones, but oh well. And then the best of the lot would be Devil May Cry 4. So the Devil May Cry series is a lot of fun. I just love the combos you can put together with your gun and your weapon, and the hack and slash ability of it. But this one looks really, really good. And those were all like $4 to $5 a piece. So it's good there. And the next, Facebook Marketplace. The guy was selling some Wii games, and when I saw the games he had and what he was selling them for, I immediately messaged him. I was the first one to do it, and when I went to talk to him about it, to pick up the games, he actually said that there was like a bidding war. People were offering to pay more than what he wanted, but he was honoring his price with me. He didn't know that some of these were a little bit more expensive. So I bought those, and then there's some other games that were pretty cheap, so I thought I'd pick them up. So first one, we got Jelly Belly Ballistic Beans. It's a puzzle game. It's pretty crappy. It's a shovelware. We've got Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz. So I'm doing a gameplay footage for this one just because I've been showing a lot of Monkey Ball games off of like Video Games Monthly lately. So it's very similar to those. We've got Namco Museum Remix. So this has a lot of remixes of Galaga and Pac-Man games. But you can also play the originals. It's got Dig Dug, Xevious, Pac-Mania, that kind of stuff. So it's alright. We got Epic Mickey. So last month I picked up Epic Mickey 2. Now I got the first one. So if you watch the gameplay video of that, it's very similar. You go around with your paintbrush, and you can add paint to something. You can use thinner to take it away, that kind of stuff. And then the 3 that I wanted these lots for. So in total I paid $40 for all these games. And just these 3 alone were worth that. So first we got Kirby's Return to Dreamland. So Kirby games are great, and this one's a lot of fun. There's some really cool parts where you can actually inhale really big enemies, where you shake the Wii controller. You can also get like powered up abilities. You get this huge sword that takes out enemies and rocks all over the screen, so it's pretty cool. And you can actually play this as with 4 players, so I'm excited to try that out. Then we've got Data East Arcade Classics. So this has a lot of good games like Burger Time. It's got let's see, 15 games. So I said Burger Time. What other ones? Express Raider, Secret Agent, Heavy Barrel, Caveman Ninja, Side Pocket, Street Hoop, Bad Dudes, Lock and Chase. Lot of really good games. I'm really enjoying Caveman Ninja. That game's a lot of fun. Played a little bit of Burger Time. But it's just a really good collection. I know I've read some reviews on it. People didn't like the menu system, and I don't really know what they're complaining about. It's really not that difficult to figure out. But you can save games and stuff, so it's a lot of fun. So glad to find that. And then the next one, Dragon's Lair Trilogy. So this has Dragon's Lair 2, and then Space Ace. So really, it's not a trilogy of the Dragon's Lair games, since there are only 2 of them. But they are old arcade games where you go around and you have to press the right direction at the correct time, or the attack button at the correct time, and it's kind of difficult. If you memorize the game, you'll be able to get through it, no problem. But it does change up the order of everything. So I'm not very good at these games. Even when you set it on easy, it's not that easy. But it's just a lot of fun, and the animation is great. So it's pretty cool. So if you haven't played those games, check them out. But I mean, those last 3 games alone are well over $100, and I got the whole thing for $40. In fact, the Dragon's Lair and the Data East Arcade Classics was being sold with the Namco remix for $15. So those games are $5 a piece. So couldn't believe that. Next, got a couple 3DS games. So this YouTuber I watched, JR Man 331, he talked about Toys R Us was having a clearance sale. So I went to check out, see what games I could find. So I did find Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King. So this was a remake of one of the Dragon Quest games made on the PS2, and it was actually the best-selling one on the PS2. It is a JRPG, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it was only like $12. And then I got Lego Batman, the video game, and this one, because when I picked this one up, it was also what were they doing? Not only was it some games are on clearance, but it was buy one, get another game 40% off. So this game, brand new, I ended up getting for $2, which pretty awesome. I know it's a DS game, so it's, last generation, but still kind of cool to get a sealed game for $2. Obviously, I opened it because I open all my games because they're meant to be played, not to just sit on your shelf. And the Lego games are great, so glad to get that. Next, I also heard that Family Video was selling off some games, so I thought I'd check that out. And so they were selling some of their games, not all of them. So I picked up 2 DS games and an Xbox 360 game. So we've got Star Wars, The Clone Wars, Republic Heroes, and we've got Sonic Colors. So the one thing about the DS is with the touchscreen and the stylus, some games use the stylus really well, other games don't use it that well. And it's one of those things where Sonic Heroes uses it really well, use it on like the bonus stages, but the rest of the time you use your D-pad or your circle pad to move. But then Republic Heroes, you use the stylus to attack and move and everything. And I just get really annoyed with that when games use that too much. I think it should be used for certain aspects of a game, not for the entire thing. And then on the game I was most excited to get on the Xbox 360, The Evil Within. So I've been looking for this game for a while, especially since the second one just came out, and it always looked really interesting. And this is just a very intense, creepy game. A lot of weird things going on. So you start off, you're a cop going to check out a mental hospital, and there's blood everywhere and bodies, and eventually you get knocked out, and you're hanging upside down with this really scary guy looking at you, and he starts chopping somebody up, and then you see him carrying half the body away. And so it's very gory and bloody. And it'd be kind of tough at times. I mean, I remember I spent quite a bit of time just at the beginning getting out of the first room because I kept trying different things and kept getting killed. First thing I did was the guy was leaving the room, and so I followed him thinking like I could just sneak past him, but he eventually turns around and killed me. Another time I tried to sneak up behind him and attack him from behind. Maybe I could like get a sneak kill, but he kind of just shrugs it off and attacks you. And then eventually I find out there's a key you got to grab and you can unlock the door. But then he starts chasing you, and it's pretty intense. Really fun game. Hoping to find it for the PS4 at some point, and then again eventually try try the second game. But really cool if you like kind of those survival horror games. And then the rest of the stuff is just stuff I got for Christmas. So we'll cover the stuff I got from my wife and her family. We got a couple amiibos. We got Zelda Breath of the Wild, and we got Mifa from Breath of the Wild. I also did get Link Archer, but I already had that one, so I got to bring that back and get a different one. And then we've got Kirby Triple Deluxe. So another great Kirby game. This one actually has a couple modes. It's got your main story mode, but then it also has a like a Super Smash Brothers type battle game where you pick which power-up you want to have, whether it's the sword or the cutter or the flame, etc. And then you fight it out with some other Kirbys. But there's also like a Panic platforming game with King Dedede. It's kind of fun. And then we got Kirby Planet Robobot. So this was actually the first game I ever played on the 3DS. When I first started thinking I wanted to get a 3DS, and they had it at Target, and I was just trying it out. And I love how you can get in the Robobots and just tear it up. Like, it's so much fun. And then with the Robobot, you can actually get your collective power up and use it. So it's a lot of fun. So excited to get into that one. Love Kirby games. And then we picked up Ukulele. So I just tried this game. That's why there's no gameplay footage. So I didn't spend a lot of time playing it. But it's from the creators of Banjo-Kazooie, and you can definitely tell the talking and the characters are just like Banjo-Kazooie. And it's got a lot of collectibles, just like Banjo-Kazooie. You know, it's pretty fun. The big thing with these type of games, the camera gets annoying at times. It's not a deal breaker, and it's not terrible, but you would think by now with the technology we'd have, they'd be able to always get good cameras for these games, but whatever. Another game that I got from my wife, which is a game I've been wanting for a while, but it was still like $60. Splatoon for the Wii U. So I played Splatoon 2 at my buddy Seth's house on the Switch, and ever since then I was like, this is a game I gotta have. Like, I think even my wife would enjoy playing it. It is so much fun. I mean, you can even go around and just, you know, when you're playing the online multiplayer, and just cover the place up with ink and not even worry about attacking the other team. But it's so much fun. I love how you get different weapons. You can change your clothes and that kind of stuff. And another great thing about this, you know, online for this is free. You know, it's just you put it in the game, make sure you have an internet connection, you can play. You know, unlike Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. So that's one thing I really like that Nintendo has done. And then the last stuff would be from my brother and my mom and that kind of stuff, and my nephews. So my nephews picked up Solar Jetman in the box. So I did just get this from Video Games Monthly in my holiday box, but my brother didn't know that, but hey, he got it in the box, which is awesome. I'm also ordering the manual off eBay, so it will be complete pretty soon. So I do have an extra copy of Solar Jetman if anyone needs it. Then another game on the Wii was Mushroom Men Spore Wars. So it's a 3D action platformer. You go around as a Mushroom Man, packs, and you can fasten different weapons and that kind of stuff. It's very interesting. I think I saw it originally on Metal Jesus Rock's Hidden Gems Wii games, and I thought it looked interesting. So we bought it. It was sealed. It's pretty fun, but I did get to a part where it glitched, and there was supposed to be a piston that was moving up and down that wasn't. So hopefully if I reload it again, it'll work. Otherwise, I'm not really sure how to get past that part. And then a couple NES games. First one, Cabal. So Cabal was a game I won ever since Pat, the NES punk, did a completely unnecessary Let's Play, and he talked about this game. And it's a shooter similar to the Punisher. So you can move around, but then when you hold the A button, you shoot, and your person's standing still as the enemies are trying to shoot at you. So you can roll and dive out of the way. You can hide behind barriers, but eventually they do get knocked down. And there's a little bar on the bottom that shows you how many enemies you have to complete before you leave that screen. It's a lot of fun. You get some grenades you could throw too. But it's a nice, pretty simple game. It's tough, like most NES games, but I enjoyed it. And then they also got me Mega Man 4. So now I've got the first 4 Mega Mans on the NES. They also did have Mega Man 5 and Mega Man 6. Mega Man 6 was complete in box, but it was $120. And that's more than my brother and I spend on each other for Christmas. And then they also did have Mega Man 5, but that was $80. So I wasn't ready to spend that much money on those. But Mega Man 4 is great. I'm really enjoying it so far. So I'm looking forward to actually get through all these games. The only one I've actually beaten was the first Mega Man. So I'll have to get through those soon. And then also for my for Christmas, my mom got me a $25 gift certificate to the game store up there, and then I also got $50 for my grandma. And so I went in and bought some games, and we'll check those out. First, we got a couple of DS games. First one, Super Scribblenauts. So Scribblenauts game is very interesting. You go around and you have to type in what you want to. You have to solve puzzles by adding stuff into the game. So you can type in ladder and a ladder will show up, or you can type in snake and a snake shows up. That kind of stuff. So it's very fun. You know, you have to really think about it. It's a good puzzle game, and they're cheap. So if you ever see Scribblenauts, check it out. And then another game I've been looking for, Touch the Dead. So it's like your House of the Dead game, except it's on the DS. You get to use your stylus to tap on guys, to attack them. You can swipe if you want to hit them with your crowbar. And there's boxes to hit to get power-ups and stuff. But it's a lot of fun. Really recommend that one. Then, for the PlayStation 1, this game was recommended by Alex Evans, Tiny Tank. So you go around as Tiny Tank, trying to save the world. You were originally created to be a tank just to get some company on the map. But that company ended up creating more tanks to fight in wars and stuff, so humans didn't have to, but then they end up taking over the world. So then this tiny little tank comes in, and he's got a big attitude, and he's trying to help the humans since they're all living underneath the ground now. It controls pretty well. It's like your typical PlayStation game. You know, far off. It's just kind of like that fog. You don't really see stuff. You have to get closer. But it controls really well. You can get power-ups through your tank. It's a lot of fun. So definitely suggest that one. And then a Game Boy game I picked up. So back in the day, Gamer got this game a few months ago, and ever since then I wanted it. And that's Motocross Maniacs. So this reminds you a lot of Excitebike. You go around collecting different letters, and then you can do loop-de-loops and stuff. And you got turbo, and you're just trying to finish the laps in a certain amount of time. But it's an excellent game. It's nice and cheap. This game I got for $3. So if you see it, definitely pick that up. And then the rest were just NES games. Alright, so here we go. First thing, we got Pinball, a nice black box game. So very simple pinball game, not much to it. But it's a black box game. It was cheap. And I've been wanting it, so I tried it out. You know, it's fun, but it gets old quickly. There's a fun little mini game you can get if you get the ball into the right hole, but you know, it's okay. Then we got Flying Dragon, The Secret Scroll. This is a side-scrolling beat 'em up. It's very similar to Kung Fu, but you move at it's kind of like a staccato movement. You know, it's not fluid like it is in Kung Fu, but you have to beat every certain amount of space that you go. You've come up with like this kind of, it's like a mini boss, but they're bigger enemies, and you have to attack them, and then you get an item for that, and that's how you finish the level once you get all of them. But it's not bad, and again, this is a pretty cheap game, so it was fun. Next, we've got Kid Nicki, Radical Ninja. Another side-scrolling game. You got this little like sword that you throw, or throwing star. Not really sure what it was. But the enemies keep respawning, so you just want to keep moving. But it is one-hit death, so it gets kind of frustrating. And I got to the first boss, but very difficult to hit. I couldn't quite figure out where the hitbox was, so I ended up dying there. But it's it's a fun game, and again, it's another cheap one. And that's the thing. I think all these NES games averaged out to be about $5 a piece. Next one from SNK, Akari Warriors. So I was a little disappointed in. So it was an arcade game that they ported to the NES. And I feel like I've seen people like in Video Games Monthly boxes get this and talk about it, and it sounded like it was a decent game. But I think the arcade game was really good. This one, so in the arcade you actually have a joystick that you can move, but this you don't. On the NES you don't have that, and so it still has like the rotary movements, and so it just kind of like staccato movement, I guess would be another good way to put it. And you just kind of, it's hard to turn, and your gun can't keep up with you, so sometimes it's hard to hit the enemies. So it's not that great, but it's okay. Then next we got Mighty Bomb Jack. So this is a pretty simple game. You go around collecting bombs for points, and you can get open treasure chests and stuff, and then enemies start to come. But one really cool thing about this is Mighty Bomb Jack can jump basically from the bottom of the level all the way to the top of the screen, no problem. So platform is pretty easy. But another cool thing is as you're falling, if you press A, he kind of like floats a little bit. So if you're falling straight towards the enemy, you can press that button and then evade it, which adds a little interesting. It adds a little bit of more strategy to beating the game, getting through the levels. So and another cheap one. Then we've got probably the most, I guess, second most disappointing game. Akari Warriors was the most, and that is The Legend of Kage. So this one is a side-scrolling beat 'em up, but it's kind of annoying because it's one of those games where once you jump, you can't control yourself in midair. So you'll jump, and you can jump super high and hit people in the air. That part's cool, but it's just, I hate not being able to control my movement as we go. But it's a decent game, and it's from Taito. They make some pretty good stuff. But I guess there's a Legend of Kage 2 on the DS or 3DS, something like that. So I'm interested to try that one out. But this one, if you find it cheap, it's okay. Nothing great. And then the last game, Milon's Secret Castle. So I've seen this around a lot. I get to see a lot on Video Games Monthly boxes, and I always want to check it out. So it's kind of like a maze or a puzzle maze game. You go around and trying to find your way through this castle. You can destroy bricks with your attack and stuff, and that's what kind of took me a while to figure out because I couldn't get out of the first room. I had no idea where to go. Then I realized you can break some bricks and that kind of stuff. I still got stuck a little bit later, but there's no password save at all. So this one you're gonna have to get through in one sitting or keep your NES on. But it's a fun little game. Probably. Out of those NES games, that one was probably my favorite. That and Mighty Bomb Jack. So there you go. Quite a bit of stuff. Nothing that I spent a lot of money on myself. Like the stuff that I get, like those Xbox games, they're like $5 a piece. I think the most expensive game I bought was that Dragon Quest VIII, and that was like $12. But then I got a lot of good stuff for Christmas. So hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, this is Captain Algebra, signing off.